Hello, friends. Good evening, and you're welcome back to the channel. It's always beautiful to have you and in a place where we can discuss a lot. Now, today we are going to look at the immune system cells. We'll profile quite a number of the immune system cells. Look through them. What do they do? What are the different types of cells in the immune system? What are they responsible for? And we'll see how far we can get discussing this today. Now, for starters, we'll realize that the immune system, like we've always said, is divided into two. We have the innate immunity and the adaptive immunity. And so it's important to note that innate and adaptive immunity, there are set of cells that function in innate immunity, and there are set of cells that function to help the body achieve adaptive immunity. And even at that, there are some cells too that function in both sides. They are useful for innate immunity, they're also useful for adaptive immunity. So we'll talk about some of these cells and just try to look at what are the functions of some of these cells. We'll start by talking about cells that are important for innate immunity. I will start by discussing phagocytes. Phagocytes are a type of immune system cells, and just as their name implies, they are there to carry out phagocytosis, and so they engulf bacteria, they engulf other kinds of substances that might organisms that might find their way into the human body. So they do this in engulfing in order to be able to capture the organism and then destroy the organism. They also destroy things that are like debris and dead cells that might be present within the cell. And so if they see any of these kind of things in the human body, they are there to gather them together and destroy them. Now, when we finish talking about phagocytes, we can now talk about neutrophils. Neutrophils are also a type of immune system cells, and they are there. They are usually present when there is a wound, there is inflammation, or there is some kind of injury. They are there they try to go and fight against any foreign material, any pathogen that finds its way into the body. And many a times you can see them where, in fact, when they fight against these pathogens, when they die, they are the ones that come to, they are dead along with the pathogens they are fighting with, are what together we call pus, PUS. So they are important, the neutrophils, they are there to fight against pathogens that may find their way into the body through injury or any other kind of disease. We also have dendritic cells. Dendritic cells are what we call APCs, antigen presenting cells, and they are also present in a lot of tissues within the body. Dendritic cells are there, and they're there to try to fight against all different types of pathogens that may find their way into the body. And a lot of things that the dendritic cells do is that they recognize tumor cells. They recognize and fight against tumor cells. They also recognize viruses and fight against viruses. So they are important as cells of the immune system. And this is very important for us to note and to understand. We also have what we call the natural killer cells. Natural killer cells are also a type of immune system cells, and they function there to also fight against viruses. So they are there to fight against viruses. We also now have what we refer to as granulocytes. Granulocytes they are divided into two. And as their name implies, granulocytes means that within their cytoplasm, you have granules, small, 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 I won't call them pigments, so small, small particles that are present within their cytoplasm. And there are two major types of granulocytes. We have your basophils and your eosinophils and basophils. They are also type of immune system cells, and they are there to function by fighting against pathogens. They recognize different kinds of pathogens, and they do their best to fight against these pathogens. So granulocytes are also important. Your eosinophils are there. They are even targeted against parasites. So they try to fight against different kinds of parasites, different types of helminthes. So that is what your eosinophils are there for. And your basophils are also there. In fact, basophils release a lot of histamine. They release a lot of histamines, and these histamines are for different kinds of allergic reactions. So they are there to give you response against different kinds of allergic reactions, and this is important. We also have what we call mast cells. We have mast cells, and these mast cells, they reside in tissues and epithelial surfaces. They also release histamines and cytokines, and they are also effective against all different kinds of allergic responses. This is quite important for us to know. Now, these are the cells of the innate immune system. It's important for us to understand these cells of the innate immune system, understand their role and their function: phagocytes, neutrophils, dendritic cells, macrophages, natural killer cells, your eosinophils, basophils, and then your mast cells. All these form the cells of our innate immune system. We'll run a second video where we'll talk about the cells of the adaptive immune system and how they function. Thank you for listening. Remember to like, to subscribe, to share our materials. We're here to stay, and we'll continue to do this to the best of our capacity. Have a wonderful day.